Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi anni massani ad-durru anta arhamar rahimin. Rarely harm has afflicted me, and you are the most merciful of the merciful. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ameen. We're continuing on today with the 15th remedy. It's the treatise on message for the sick. This is the 20th flash, and we are proceeding on page 275, the 15th remedy. O sick person who sighs and laments, do not look at the outward aspect of illness and sigh. Consider its meaning and be pleased. If in meaning illness had not been good, the all-compassionate Creator would not have given it to the servants He loves most. For there is a hadith, the meaning of which is, those afflicted with the severest trials are the prophets, then the saints, and those like them. That is, those most afflicted with tribulations and difficulties are the best of men, the most perfect. Those most afflicted with tribulations and difficulties are the best of men, the most perfect. Foremost, the prophet Job, peace be upon him, and the other prophets, and then the saints, then the righteous, have regarded the illnesses they have suffered as serious worship, as gifts of the most merciful. They have offered thanks in patience. They have offered thanks in patience. They have seen them as surgical operations performed by the all-compassionate Creator's mercy. O you who cries out and laments, if you want to join this luminous caravan, offer thanks in patience. For if you complain, they will not accept you. For if you complain, they will not accept you. You will fall into the pits of the people of misguidance and travel a dark road. Yes, there are some illnesses which, if they lead to death, are a sort of martyrdom. They result in a similar degree of sainthood. Yes, there are some illnesses which, if they lead to death, are a sort of martyrdom. They result in a similar degree of sainthood. For example, people become martyrs who die from the illnesses accompanying childbirth and pains of the abdomen, and by drowning, burning, and plague. There's a footnote. The period this martyrdom may be won through illness is around the 40 days of lying in. So people become martyrs who die from the illnesses accompanying childbirth and pains of the abdomen, and by drowning, burning, and plague. There are also many blessed illnesses which gain the degree of sainthood for those who die from them. Moreover, since illness lessens love of the world and attachment to it, it lightens parting from the world through death, which for the worldly is extremely grievous and painful, and it sometimes even makes it desirable. this is the end of this 15th remedy of the 25th flash. So those of you who joined us in 25th flash, page 275. Immediate impressions about this flash, at least I would want to start from like going backwards a little bit, how the author ends it. So any kind of illness, regardless of how severe it is, doesn't matter. It's like a message, or it's a messenger carrying a message, and it not only brings news about death, because when we are in a very vulnerable situation where we feel helpless, then the first thing that comes to mind is really death, as in, whoa, I'm dying, or will I die? and so it's interesting how the author says that it lightens parting from the world through death, as in it's a gradual learning process for me, to help me or prepare me or educate me and train me really what it's like to live with the awareness of death. Because most of the time, yes, we hear about death, we hear things dying, we even, experience different stages in our lives, but it just becomes like not a disconnected, perhaps, yeah, like a disconnected reality that I live with, where yes, I'm in need every moment to be given existence, but how much am I breathing, or how much am I really digesting this reality? It's really not that much. So illness then becomes like a very prominent human experience, where one feels helpless, as in, this is it, I'm dying, or I don't know what's going on, I may die, so what's the reality, what happens? And so it shakes the human soul and brings it up a little bit, to what the reality of this world is, where we have to prepare ourselves, we have to train ourselves, like things we hold on to, things we attach value to, this is not it. We all also, we are blessed with everything, like health or any kind of feeling, but then is that it, or do I just want to live here and stay healthy? But yeah, but at the end we know that we'll all die, so we all need a little bit more, I think, awareness in terms of getting ready for graduation or departure. So again, the whole analogy of students in a school, there are always some classes or a seminar, maybe once a while, maybe twice a year, just letting the students know of different ways or career paths they can take on after graduation, just to instill this notion of graduation within the human being, that yes, you will die. Are you preparing for it? How much have you trained yourself? So I think what the author is sharing is really, illness shakes us up and sever our attachment to the world, our love of the world, and make us more conscious and aware of what lies beyond what I see. Just my immediate takeaways from what was read, and let me see what you all have to say. Anything that comes to your mind about this 15th remedy. I'll give in a pause. Feel free to raise your hand. Any questions? Farah, go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, I started to speak before raising my hand. I wanted to understand the meaning of this hadith a little more, beyond its, um, the obvious way to understand. But for one, we can ask, why is it that, if, let's say, and these are different, or let's say, stages or ranks amongst human beings also. Are, let's say, prophets or saints or people of, higher levels of consciousness and awareness and acknowledgement of their creator, are they more aware of, their situation, that they recognize more trials in this life, or the trial of this life, of the struggle of being in constant acknowledgement and the need to do it as best as one can? Is that what one might say the severest trial is, um, that comes with a higher degree of awareness? Or is it in fact, you know, uh, something that is, I don't know, like, I guess I'm trying to understand, like, what is this trial? Um, and, because we would not expect that somebody with a closeness or nearness to their creator would, let's say, if I dare to say, like, deserve to face a trial. So, and there's something good in it, as the author is talking, that if there's meaning and good in its existence. So what is the significance of this hadith, or an explanation of it?
Oh, very good question, Farah. Let's see what Ali Marmar has to say. Go ahead, Brother Ali.
Indeed, it's a very good question, and it concerns also many people's minds, and also my mind as well. Why the hadith says, in reality, I don't know, I haven't seen the good people are suffering more than the others, but it was a wrong word. Suffering means afflicted by illnesses, any kind of illnesses. Of course, I have been thinking about it. I understand that so far it is not for sure, and it's not the ultimate result at all. Just the initiations of it, just to start thinking about it. First of all, the hadith obviously says that illness is not given as a punishment for some mistakes. If it was so, it wouldn't be given to the prophets, because the prophets, by definition, are chosen because they don't need to be punished for any mistakes, may be corrected, but correction is not punishment. That is the apparent meaning, which is correct. To me, it's important as well. If someone is ill, it doesn't mean that he has done something wrong, that he is punished. But at the same time, we have to make the distinction between two things: doing something wrong, using the free will in a wrong way, is a reality that we may, even the prophets may. They may use their free will in the wrong way. Then God corrects it, makes it clear that the right thing to do is this or that. That is correction. But if I do something wrong, we have to make the distinction between two things. This is one. The one thing, if I do something wrong, yes, it is wrong. It needs to be corrected. When the illness is given, that may be related to doing something wrong, even in physical terms, for example, not taking care of my health, and I do something wrong. It means I have done something wrong, and illness is given to me. What I have to understand that the illness which is given to me is not in the form of punishment. As the text says, it is the manifestation of the mercy of the most merciful one. It means it is just a way of correcting what I have done. Mostly the function of illness is mentioned in the very end of the paragraph, which says they have seen them as surgical operations performed by the all-compassionate Creator's mercy. So they are much more aware, those people who are much more aware of the nature, the reality of illness, which is a surgical operation performed, executed by the all-compassionate Creator's mercy. That is very important. From one aspect, it is a reminder, it is a correction, it is correction, it is a reminder, it is telling me that I have done something wrong, so that I have to do it. But most of the mistakes derives from attachment. Where was it? It is I'm looking. It helps. It says somewhere the illness helps people to disconnect yourself from the world. Where was
It's
it?
the last few sentences. Illness, lesson, love of the world. It's highlighted on the screen.
It is towards the end. Sorry, I jumped then. Moreover, illness, illness, let me read it, that lessons, love of the world and attachment to it. Yeah, what does it mean? Love of the, aren't we going to love the world? Yes, we love the world. I love the world. It is beautiful. It is it is home for me, where I am entertained. I feel really comfortable with my host. But in this context, the love of the world and attachment to it, seeing it as the source of itself. It means whatever I like of the world is from the world. Illness cuts off this relationship, says that, look, whatever you have been getting from the world, look, the world is cannot help you anymore. You see, you cannot control the world, but everything in the hands of the one who owns, who creates and owns and manages the world. That is a help for me to avoid from using my free will in the wrong way. So I think in summary, it's very simple what I said. The meaning of Hadith shows, one, illness is not a punishment. If it was a punishment for any mistake, the Creator who has chosen the prophets should not punish, because they are already chosen, and when they have any mistakes, they should be corrected in the nice way, so that without giving the illness, so that because they don't deserve punishment. That is the very important, the first aspect of the illness or the hadith, meaning of the hadith. And the second aspect, this is a surgical operation performed by the mercy of the Creator. So this surgical operation helps me disassociate myself from the world as I regard the world to be the source of my entertainment, my happiness, whatever I benefit from it. So I will realize that neither me nor the world can be owner of itself. That's the summary of what I understood. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair. Oh, good comment. I really found it interesting that any correction is not punishment. And, I was also thinking that even though it may seem that nothing is a punishment, but I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are some verses in the Quran which states, oh, then sorry, I'm going to turn off because it's noisy a little. Okay, so I was saying that there's some verses that talks about severe punishment. Maybe it's not translated correctly, or perhaps it's also how I should view it as. Because if we're defining anything which needs to be corrected as not punishment, then I don't know then why punishment is very much mentioned in translation. So perhaps those are mistranslations. I don't know. But I sort of like this definition of correction as not punishment. Go ahead, Ali Murmur.
These are really interesting points that Farah and you raised. These are interesting because people read the Quran usually. I mean, it's normal. I don't blame anybody because I am in the same position. So it is normal for human beings not to understand the metaphoric teachings or allegoric teachings of the Quran. It needs to be understood correctly with the right definition of the Quran, right approach to the Quran, etc., or also needs a little bit training. So I will give you a very simple example, very simple, everybody can understand. If any iron piece of iron rots completely, what do? Do you try to clean it, correct it, get the rust and use the rest which can be reused again? Usually what they do in the scrap yards, they put all the metals into a very, very high heated furnace. And then all the rusts are burnt there and the good ones remains. Whatever is not rusted in the center remains and they're reused, which is exactly the example of hell. And the description of the prophetic teaching says after the rust is cleaned, they will come up as fresh, like fresh shoot of plants by the riverside. It is beautifully described. I don't memorize the hadith, but the meaning is this. But if the piece of iron is completely rusted, what do you do with it? Do you try to clean it? Do you try to, when you burn it, it completely rusts. There is nothing. So why do you put it in the furnace? so that the rust will be burned, but there will be something good in it. That is why the Quran describes the communities who completely are corrupt and never ever listen to the messengers and reject the messengers and insist and challenge that if what you say is right, let it come on us. Come on, don't be ridiculous. So those people, of course, not everybody is corrupt. Those people who accept the message or understand that the message is meaningful joined the prophet, and the prophets, the messengers, and those people who follow them are taken away from the community. Of course, they may have lots of mistakes, but not completely corrupt. Those people remain there, are destroyed in the language of the Quran in various ways, doesn't matter what ways. It means God's destruction, by definition, God's destruction of a person or punishment of a person in this world is only the case when the person is 100% corrupt. That means, in fact, in a figurative way, if God is reminding us in the teachings of the Quran by mentioning what happened to the previous communities, some people, reminding me that if you corrupt yourself completely, totally, then you start suffering while you are in this world completely. If you corrupt yourself, it means try not to submit to the truth and rebel against it and declare war against it and try to destroy the truth, then you will be experiencing the meaninglessness, purposelessness completely, and you won't be entertaining your human life anymore at all. That is the news I get from these references of the previous people mentioned in the Quran. So we should understand that the punishment of the previous nations or anybody who does something wrong, we have to understand that it's a reminder for us not to corrupt yourself, or as much as you corrupt yourself, this corrupted part of yourself will not entertain the eternal happiness at all as a human being. Just you may entertain yourself as an animal, not as a human being. That's what we have to understand, that teachings of the Quran should be understood as related to our life in this world. How about the life in the hereafter? Doesn't he say anything? Really, however we are treated in this world as a result of our own choices, that will be the enhanced, if you like, form of it in the hereafter, in terms of eternal life there. It means whatever we do here until we die, we are given death. And however our human side experiences the pleasure of being a human being, and being satisfied with the with whatever we are given here in this world in terms of human conditions that will be transferred to the eternal life. And that will be my graduation degree, if you like, whatever it is. We have to understand this kind of verses as relating to us, as aiming at teaching me whatever I choose, what the result I will encounter with. That is just reminding us, if you choose this way, this will happen to you. If you choose the other way will happen to you. That is just a reminder, and with compassion, with mercy, this reminder comes to reaches me, because before I lose all opportunity and leave the world, I have to take notice of my reality. So think about it again and decide accordingly what I should do, or correct myself accordingly. That is what we should understand. Otherwise, anger, destruction, destroying of the people, punishing to the people would be in the form of injustice. And why the creator of the universe should treat his creatures in an unjust way? Well, otherwise he wouldn't have created them. So we understand that there is no injustice. If there is no injustice, it must be for my benefit, with justice, according to what I deserve. But the correction will be for my benefit. But if I'm totally corrupted, there is no way to receive the benefit at all. So I will destroy myself, and physically also, God creates the result according to what I deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. That was interesting comment. I mean, bottom line, I feel that the Quranic message, it's really guidance for me on how to utilize my existence right now for life after graduation, because that's I think that's the primary concern. So when you enroll in a school, you want to make sure that you learn and educate yourself to be ready for post-graduation. So similarly, we got to utilize this existence as a training ground for that which lies beyond this existence. Otherwise, it's purposeless to even read the Quranic message. It doesn't provide any satisfactory answers otherwise. Anyone else wants to say something? Feel free to share a question or comment. And yeah, this whole point about the author mentioning the Hadith of the prophets and the saints doesn't matter. It's just letting us know about the human free will in terms of what is at my disposition and what am I in charge of, as far as when I experience something, then it's really an education to rectify my compass settings, which ought to be directed in the correct way. And I think it really makes sense about the correction part. It's a correction. So I reassess my situation. And yeah, and also because the teacher knows how the student is learning and developing and progressing, and also, oh, no, you have more potential, so let me assign you more homework, or I think you have the potentiality to take on this. So I think it's also a matter of developing, really at the end of the day, it's developing one's human potentiality to reach the purpose of one's existence. So that's that for that paragraph. But I was looking into, and at any time feel free to raise your hand, but I just was looking into this martyrdom concept as well. Some illnesses, if they lead to death, is sort of martyrdom. They result in a similar degree of sainthood. And so this gives the example, people become martyrs who die from certain sort of illnesses, childbirth, pains of the abdomen, drowning, burning, and plague. I was thinking a little bit about this martyrdom concept, as in, I think it connects back to the Hadith where there's no such thing as punishment. It's just learning and development opportunity. So I think even for anyone, because we're all adversary of the speech of the creator of the universe. And so within our experiences, we can get to witness our reality in different ways and different means. So just wanted to bring that up. But if there's anyone who wants to add a little more to this martyrdom concept, that feel free to share any thoughts. Farah, go ahead, please.
I'm also going to try and focus on the same part. Does the author mean here that the illnesses in and of itself, or death from those illnesses is the status of martyrdom, or is it again implied that for the one who reflects on their illness that then may lead to death is like having experienced the awareness and the connection to existence similar to that of sainthood? Just want to clarify that point.
So if anyone wants to take on that. So Farah wants to clarify the concept of sainthood and martyrdom. If I hope I understand it correctly. Otherwise, feel free to unmute yourself and say out your query again, please, Farah.
Sure. So does the author here mean that someone who goes through an illness, some illnesses, as he says, as described in the line below, does someone just going through the experience and then passing away is a sort of martyrdom, or the person on that illness having had, taking the opportunity or receiving the opportunity to see the meaning in that illness accesses the status of martyrdom. And I hope this is a little bit clearer, but I'll also try and sort of mull over it a little bit more to make this clearer.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's. I think you said it in terms of utilizing anything that we experience as an opportunity to really ascertain the reality of my existence here. And so the whole thing is, everything then becomes a sign. It's a sign pointing to something. And so where it's an opportunity for me to witness really what is the giver of health, for example, or what is the giver of existence, what is the giver of life. And I mean, I'm taking off it this way, but I know you asked something about, like, does that lead, like the author is mentioning, dying from these sort of illnesses, that gives the status of sainthood to those experiencing it, or those I don't know, yeah, experiencing it, I would say. You want to say something? Go ahead.
Okay, no, just Assalamualaikum. So, the concept of martyrdom, normally we think about it, is the Arabic word shaheed, witnessing, as all of you are kind of hinting at. I found something new here in terms of relating it to the illnesses, because mostly, the martyrdom is kind of tied to, always in the case of maybe wars, is that's how the conventional kind of understanding of what martyrdom comes. But here, as all of you are saying, in terms of, based on the events that you are experiencing, an illness in this case, and the purpose of the illness itself. So not considering the outward aspect, but the meaning behind the inward aspect of what illness kind of, the message that the illness is bringing, and how, it makes you realize who you are, and, what actually, who is the one who is taking care of you. So it brings you closer to your Lord. So that, that notion that basically illness is leading to that. And, you get closer in terms of your connection, your relationship. So it depends on, the severity of the illness. And as the footnote was saying, the longer you rest, that it sinks in further down in your being that, look, I am not the one who is in control of my health. Although I may think I'm healthy, but that health is also given to me. And, that surgical operation, as the author points out, that also tells me that somebody besides, not me, but somebody else is really operating on me. And all I have to do is use my free will, the given free will, to actually acknowledge and recognize him. And that's what the sainthood, it means that, somebody who is connecting always as best as they can in their abilities. But the sickness gives you this, becomes a segue again to, go into that connecting mode and realization of what your purpose in existence is.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. That makes more sense, at least to me. Also, this whole point of degree of sainthood, or doesn't matter, or enlightenment, I would think of it as enlightenment, degree of enlightenment. And I think Farah highlighted earlier in terms of, it's all about one's awareness of existence. So whatever we may be experiencing, so how am I utilizing that as a blessing to help me understand the purpose of my existence, which is really what its purpose is. I mean, things are given for a purpose, for a reason. It's just not haphazard. And so sometimes it's like, even within our feelings, the longer we stay with some sort of feelings, like really working it out in terms of, looking for its source of existence, or what is the wisdom behind this, the more we can help ourselves in fulfilling the purpose of our existence. So that's it on this end. Does anyone else want to add a little something, comment, or if you want to express yourself out with a question? There's something on the chat. Let's read that up. So Farah, you want to please unmute yourself and say out what you're saying? Thanks.
Sure. So the last line, which of the highlighted part, there are also many blessed illnesses which gain the degree of sainthood for those who die from them. I understand it as if it's saying that no matter what an individual believes or understood of themselves and their life, but on or through the experiences of some illnesses, they connect to the source of meaning, and the meaning in that illness. Like there is, if I put it in very explicit terms, there's like, it's almost guaranteed that they will see the meaning in it, given the nature of that illness, and thus that death implies, martyrdom, as we discussed, is that such an experience, almost for certain inculcates or provokes someone to perceive their illness or their condition with meaning. And that way I can see this as a blessing where, it's almost guaranteed that one will witness the meaning in that experience, and no one who, let's say, is afflicted or is suffering through it, no one will not see it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing your comment as well. It's, it's also interesting how everything everything is given existence on a moment-to-moment basis. So even the Quranic message itself, we say, oh, it's very dynamic, it's not static. And even recently, Brother Ali also has been emphasizing a lot that it's a very, it's non-linear also. So I think taking that, like every event as a package coming to me to make something out of it, as in, like you said in your comment, extract the meaning from it. And really, that's really fulfilling the purpose of my existence, to recognize that, it's coming from an absolute source of existence, and I need to acknowledge this source of existence every step of the way, with whatever is it that I am doing or experiencing. Alrighty, anyone else has anything else to add? Ali Murmur, go ahead, please.
I agree with what you and Farah said, and also Asim's comment. Yeah, they are what is happening. They represent exactly what is happening in this world and what remains to us through illnesses. We understand our total weakness, etc., and neediness, and acknowledge the source of our existence and the source of the things that we are benefiting and enjoying our life with. So who the source is. I agree all this with one point that attracts my attention. Of course, we have to be aware that the translation of shaheed as martyr, well, we have to know that shaheed means the one who witnesses the truth clearly. It means observing it as if it is seeing it. It's as if it is seeing the how do you say, transcendental side of this world, which means the aspect of the world which looks to the Creator, shows to the Creator, demonstrates the qualities of the Creator. that is good, that is real, but there are cases, as specifically mentioned in this 15th remedy, that the illness which leads to death. It means, for example, I know one of our friends, like we are here, we have been having discussions together, and she was pregnant and we were all excited to see the baby, etc. And at birth, giving birth, she gave birth, mashallah, to a twin, two girls. They are now in the studying in university level, old girls now, but that time they were the girls. They Allah saved them, God saved them, the girls, and on the spot mother died. This is somehow not strange to the doctors. They know that at birth some women may die. Sometimes the child dies. So, for example, child dies or a mother dies, and this illness, whatever happened during the birth, something did not go according to what expected, the law of the creation. So mother died, and she was afflicted with the illness which led to death. But she didn't have the opportunity to benefit from it, to learn, to make observation. What is that? Or a baby, well, either at birth or later on without realizing what is going on in this world, just a baby, just a young child, they don't benefit from the illness, etc. They don't say, oh, I thought I was very strong and I can manage with my life. That is how I am a hero of the world. No, they just play. They don't know. And during that period of life, they may die again. What is the point? Then the meaning of shahid has a slightly different meaning in these kind of cases. It means, you know that there are two words used for God to have his names. One is shahid, the other one is mashhud. So shahid includes the meaning of these two words. And that means sometimes the Creator gives the opportunity to the person who's subject to illness so that she or he will recover itself, correct itself, benefit from it, and use the illness as a means of observing the reality, experiencing the reality within on himself or himself. That is one side of it that we discussed. You have been also talking about this side. How about the other side, that the person who was afflicted by a creation which led this person to death, but didn't have the opportunity to benefit from it, or as a child? I understand that, I don't know whether it is correct or not. Of course, I'm presenting my understanding at this moment now, present understanding. So if I'm wrong, please correct me or come up with an alternative explanation. God is deciding, as he decided to create me in the form of I am, as I am, as I am. It was his decision. He gave me two hands, simple example. And he gave me youth. And he gives me now old age. Throughout all the stages of my life, I go through different stages while I am conscious of myself, I understand that these are the demonstrations of God's many aspects of his qualities, degrees of his qualities manifested in me. This is an opportunity for me to analyze it and benefit from it. But giving the death, for example, while I am dying, I have no opportunity to benefit from experiencing death anymore within the conditions of this world. It is too late. I have changed my word now. This kind of word that I have been experiencing here is no valid anymore, and my opportunity to learn better is gone, and I left it behind. So my old age is a witness to young people. When I was young, those people who created with an old age, they were witness for me. I was the one who is witnessing their reality, seeing that, look, this man cannot stop aging. I will be in the same position. That it is a witness demonstrated to those people who need it. Death is like this as well, and the illness is given to children like this as well. It means, as the Creator gives me life on earth and provides everything what life requires, what life needs, it is in the same way, it must be, I'm just reasoning in the same way that when God creates something that brings no benefit for me, it means the result of this creation must be provided by the Creator again directly to me without my effort. For example, atmosphere is there. Do I get air as a result of my effort? No, it is just given grace. So if I am used as an instrument in order to try to demonstrate the qualities of the Creator for the other conscious beings so that they will benefit from it, but I cannot benefit because of death. So it will be rewarded, I will be rewarded as a result of being used as an evidence so that this being used situation, if you like, I am employed there as a witness to demonstrate on my being to other people what the reality is. They will benefit from me. So these situations need or complement or requital reward must be provided by the Creator. That I understand the price of witness, in English they say martyr, is the paradise. It means when God gives or pays back, he doesn't pay back in a meager way. Niggardly, he pays back according to his capacity, with which eternal happiness. So that is why Shaheed are given paradise directly. And it is highest level in the reward of God's mercy. It means highest level in paradise. That is the same thing. At the highest level of manifestation of God's mercy. So if God takes something away from me in order to use me as an instrument to teach others, the reward of this creation will be paid by God. like the human qualities are given to me now, whatever I have the qualities, they need to be satisfied. How? Look at the universe is witnessing the qualities of the creator, introducing it to me, and I didn't deserve, I didn't do anything to be given this universe. For me, no, it is given. I am, just because I am created. If I am created with an illness which leads to death, it means the reward will be given by the creator of the universe as he treats me right now. That means after I die, the reward will be given in the form of eternal happiness. Eternal happiness. That is why generally understood, the commonly understood meaning of shaheed, or I wouldn't say martyr, but I would say witness. God creates as a witness to demonstrate his reality to those people, conscious people, who will benefit from it. So he pays the reward for it in the form of paradise, which is eternal happiness. That is how I understood it for the moment.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Thank you for sharing. I'm thinking a little on this thing. I don't even know how to rephrase what you shared, but yeah, it does make sense in terms of witnessing things in creation, but the one that it's done onto, or the one that is subject to, what do you say? To be the subject of, like you were saying, what was it? To be like a instrument. Yeah, it's like you don't know. Like for example, death. Like in the case of death, okay, fine, that makes sense. But like, yeah, if you're taken as an example for others to learn, but then even to attain to that degree of awareness, you have to be super connected to the source of your existence. Other, I'm sorry.
What about the baby in that case?
The baby.
If you're saying super connected.
Yeah. If a baby, oh, that's another, I think, story.
So that's the instrument to bear witness, like to teach others. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's think a little more on this. I mean, it's not that, I think, bad or complicated, but I think the whole point is utilizing creation as a witness, and anything, even that I'm experiencing, that's a witness for myself as well, where I know that
everything else in the witness.
Exactly. It's just witnessing creation for its purpose. I'll just leave it to that for now, but let's see if anyone else wants to add something, or if you want to share out your takeaway from this understanding of Shaheed, because I know Mariam Ostermer is asking what Shaheed is. I still don't understand. So, hey, whoever is up on this chat room, there are 8 people. If you want to share out any of your summary, what you took away, what's your understanding of what you understand from Shaheed, please help us out. Break it down in simple terms, or in ways that is easier digested by me, at least. Anyone? Yeah, because I'm still thinking on this, some of this point. But in a nutshell, I would say, what is Shaheed? It's really witnessing the truth, or witnessing the reality, right? So I may witness a flower decaying. So the flower is a Shaheed, because it's being used for me to witness that nobody controls their existence. Things are done onto us, and the flower does its job, its duty. So it's fulfilling its purpose and destined for eternal paradise. As far as I'm concerned, I'm witnessing it, and I should use it for my benefit to recognize the one that gives me existence. So, yeah, I think that's my brief takeaway on this. And I think that's the matter in a nutshell. We can apply that to our practical lives, human connections, and just like the example Brother Ali shared. And I think also the part of death that's very also prominent and obvious. We witness that, but then the one that is graduating from this universe, of course, that's how the order is set up. It's called qadar. We have no control on it, but that's as far as it gets. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I should always be focusing on my side of the equation. What is my responsibility here? How am I utilizing my free will? Am I witnessing the source of my existence here? Or even when something is imparted onto me, like an illness, so what am I doing with this? Because the illness also is a witness for me that I am not the giver of health, that I'm not here forever. Yes, we all desire to be healthy in good health, but until when? People are extending lifespan, finding ways or cures to, pretty much extend their lifespan here. 100 years, 120, 150. Yeah, go for it. 1,000, sure, be my friend. But what? Until what? Until when? Like, what do you want to do here? What's your ultimate aim? Do you want to just stay here? I don't know. So just something. I think for all of us to do a little homework on. And let me see, there's some things on the chat. So Mariam Ostomer, you're saying, does heaven have levels? Ali Dida said that people who are Shaheed get the highest position in heaven. Good question. Yeah, I would say yes, because it's just that, even at school, they place you in different curriculum. You may have advanced placement courses. You may have a certain route to be on track, as in your teacher will assess you based on your mastery of a subject. They put you in courses. And so same thing goes on also with, how people graduate with different levels of degrees also, so I think based on that, you get whatever. Although this whole, I don't know, sorry, I'll just delete what I said at the end about people graduate with different honors with their degrees, because yeah, that's not a good analogy to apply. But the whole point is that I need to utilize my potentialities to the best of my abilities, so I can be on the route to success, as in to fulfill my purpose of existence. But let's see if Ali Dida wants to add anything on that, or anyone else. Feel free to raise your hand. If not, yeah, put up on the chat if that makes sense, or if you have any follow-up question, or feel free to unmute yourself as well, Mariam, if you want to express yourself out more. Go ahead. Go ahead, Brother Ali.
In briefly, I would say, if God decides to take something from me, not as a result of my choice.
Oh, you got muted. So you're.
Yeah, he decided to take it away from me. For example, if God decides to take somebody's hand in an accident, but not as a result of giving a lesson to the person, correcting his mistakes. No. Just it was totally out of the person's intention and free will. the reward will be paid by God. And this reward is coming from the eternal one, and it is by definition must be eternal. That is paradise. If the whole life is taken away from once, not because it's negligence, not because of this aging, and that is it, your term is finished. They call it natural death, but everything, nothing natural, but that's how they call it. God gives the pays back, if you like, gives the reward according to his capacity. That means eternal. That is why paradise, but in English they use paradise and heaven in the same similar way, so that the Maryam may be confusing from the paradise. When we say heaven, paradise. So paradise, the highest level of paradise is for those people who paid their reward by their God directly, not because they did something and accordingly God multiplied the reward with his mercy. No, fully from his mercy. That means nothing to do with the person at all, because God created something to him in order to be a witness to other people. Take notice of the reality of this world and become conscious of the Creator. To understand that we cannot, helping people understand that human beings cannot really own their being. They cannot really claim over anything. Now, in order to demonstrate this, this is making the person shaheed, witness to the truth. But this is the decision of the Creator, and the person will not have any opportunity to benefit from it. Any death which leads to death without the negligence of the man leads to death as a result of God's choice, God's will be paid in paradise at the highest level. It means this person will be rewarded with the highest possible reward in paradise, in the eternal life, which is eternal happiness, complete, full eternal happiness. And the degree in paradise, exactly the degree, as you said, Feriha said, degree according to your level of learning, you get your education, and the reward for it, it means your degree accordingly. How much you learned, that much you are given. The paradise is the same. Everybody has his own degree according to what he has earned in this world, but multiplied by God's grace. How much it is, it depends on God. We don't know. It is something to do with the hereafter. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Brother Ali. That was very helpful, at least for me. I hope it helps out Mariam as well. Mariam, let us know. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to say something more, or if you have any follow-up concern. And go ahead, Mariam.
So I was sort of confused about what Ali Dada said just now. I took a note, but I'm not sure if it's correct, so I'm just going to read it. So what I understood was if you don't have a natural death, it shows you die because he wants you to. Because of this, you get the highest level in heaven. But I don't know if that's true.
So you said natural death. So pretty much everything is an, you know how we would say natural death, as in it's given existence. So it doesn't matter how it happens. It's when the appointed hour is set, it is set. It's decreed. So when something is given, so the one that is given to, as far as I understand, and as far as also what the author is mentioning here, is that person then becomes a martyr, because that is being used as a witness for us. So that's act of creation, or the creation of it, the creation of death, the creation of the flower decaying, or the creation of a baby cat, dying. That's used as a witness for you and I, or anyone who's observing it. Its creation is a witness for us in terms of what our reality is, that I do not control my existence. I do not control the existence of anything. So whoever's controlling this universe, whoever's giving existence to this act of creation, which we referring to as death in the example, that one must know, what he's up to. I mean, so as far as I'm concerned, that thing is a witness for me to connect to the source of my existence. So the author is saying, so that flower that's dying, or the cat that dies, or anybody else, so they are definitely, they're rewarded, whatever they're being utilized for. So but I, on my end, I should be concerned with myself. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't confuse you. So feel free to say out, because I think it's a good topic. We should be very comfortable eloquently expressing this out. So Mariam, I don't know. Well, please let us know what you took away, or did we even answer any of your question? Go ahead, please.
It was sort of confusing to me. Sorry, I didn't really get what we were trying to say.
Yeah, perfectly understandable. So let's see what Brother Ali has to say. Go ahead, Brother Ali.
Now, the question, I think, remains here. If something is created out of my will, anything that I chose as a result, for example, a mother died while giving birth to a baby, and she's not going to take any lesson from it. Why that death is given to her? Yes, it is a witness for others. That is something else. How about the mother herself? Now, this hadith says that mother will become a witness by the choice of the creator. Now, don't say everything is created by the choice, but we choose, God creates. In this case, the mother didn't choose. So God creates death for the mother, and the reward of being chosen as a person who died at birth and he's not benefiting, she's not going to benefit from it, she's dead from this event. I may benefit, that is my side. How about the mother's side? This side will be paid by God according to his absolute mercy. It means highest degree of paradise. That is what Hadith says. The level of martyr is equal to prophets, etc. It means the highest degree. That is highest degree. Highest degree because God has chosen to give this, and this person didn't have the opportunity to benefit from it. So it is just God's decision. So the reward will be as God's decision. It means as God pays it. When God pays it, he doesn't pay. He's not expected to pay in a niggardly way, of course. Yeah, so the hadith says this person, the mother, will be paid at the highest level in paradise. That is what hadith says. How do we understand this? Within the conditions of this world, Life is given to me. All the equipments of life are given to me. And I need to breathe, eat, see, hear, think, etc. The brain, consciousness, everything is given to me. And within the conditions of transient world, whatever my existence requires in order to continue its functioning is also given by my creator in the form of a universe. How generous it is. You see the example in this world, so you can make sense that those people who are inflicted by illnesses or other things, uh, accidents, etc., without involving their free choice and didn't have the opportunity to benefit from them, they will be called witness, shaheed, martyr. They are the same word. Maryam, they are the same word. Martyr is English concept. It means, doesn't have the real meaning. But witness is the translation of shaheed. Shaheed means somebody whose life is sacrificed in order to demonstrate the reality, truthfulness of God. Not only those people who die in the battlefield, those people who die, for example, in a, let's say, give birth to a baby. That's the best example. While giving a birth to baby. So this person is shaheed, and the reward of shaheed is going to be eternal happiness at the highest capacity. This is what I understood from the hadith.
Jazakallah khair, that at least helped me out. And I think the whole point here of the hadith, I don't know if the hadith or just like the author mentioned, is if they lead to death. So I think that's the whole point, because the person who's dying, they cannot benefit from this act of creation. But for me, they are a witness demonstrating the truthfulness of God, and God has utilized them, and definitely they'll be rewarded eternal paradise. And Mariam is saying, thank you so much. That helped me understand a lot. Alhamdulillah, glad to hear that. Jazakallah khair again, Brother Ali, for helping us understand the case better. We have 2 more minutes. Is there anyone else who wants to add something? Any last comments, or if we haven't heard from you or just want to share something, feel free to do so. If not, then we can ask Mariam to share any of her notes if she would like to, because we always have some time for that. Mariam, go ahead, please.
I do have notes today, but not as much as I normally do. This lesson was a bit harder for me. This topic was a bit harder for me. So my first note for the 16th remedy was the example that Adizadeh started off with. If metal rusts, people in a junkyard separate the iron and burn it in a very hot furnace. All of the rust melts away and the good metal remains. This is a perfect description of hell. People who are martyred, shaheed, get the highest position in heaven. Shaheed martyrdom is witnessing the truth. Heaven has different levels because it's like school. You get different scores on a test, and you would graduate with a different level than what somebody else would. Shahid means witness. If you understand the truth, you become a witness of the truth. When you are a shahid, you are placed at the highest level of heaven. Allah is all merciful. He gives you whatever you need whenever you need it. Your death date has already been set. You cannot change or escape it no matter what. And then my last note was martyr equals witness equals shaheed.
MashaAllah. Beautiful takeaways and beautiful summary. Jazakallah khair, Maryam, for really sharing your notes with all of us here. If no one else has anything to add, then inshallah we can end here for today. And yeah, people are appreciating by applauding on the chat room. So yeah, so whoever picks up next Saturday will pick up from the 16th remedy. And yep, that's about it for now. Thank you all for coming in, sharing out your comments and thoughts, questions, and just being here in good company. Thanks again. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save except that which you've taught us. Indeed, you are all knowledgeable, all wise. وآخر دعواهم الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة آمين.